Long John Daly burst onto the PGA Tour and became famous when no one could hit the ball further than him. But despite all his success on the court, there are some dark secrets that you never knew about him. In this video, let's take a look at John Daly's darkest secrets. Gambler's life. Daly is known for his wild love for gambling, burning a $55 million hole in his pocket. Now, everyone who follows Long John knows that the man loves his gambling, but people don't know that it hasn't been very kind to him over the years. Daly claims that he's lost an average of $2.4 million a year from 1991 to 2007. It turns out Daly would play simultaneous hands of blackjack for $5 to $15 grand per hand. Considering how big the number is, you'd think that Long John would have a little regret. But John's attitude is as unique as his style, because he claims he has no regrets and has lots of fun doing it, even if he lost millions. But he claims that he's finally moved on, which is great. Alcohol and substance abuse. Besides gambling, Long John has had lifelong problems with drinking and substance abuse. Now you should know that he's not only an addict, but also a hypocrite. John caused a great deal of upset after he accused pro golfers of using cocaine. John's alcohol problems were in the spotlight for years, even though he had claimed that he was in full control of his drinking habits. This image became harder to maintain when he was arrested for being drunk in public. It's worth mentioning that John's gambling and drinking addictions, when combined, made him go through the hardest phase of his life in 1997, banned from the PGA. Speaking of that dreadful year, Daly was hoping to deliver another banger of a performance in the '97 Players Championship in Florida, but luck just wasn't on his side that day. Daly hit a bad round, and disappointed by his performance, he headed back to his hotel room. And what do you know? He was back to his bottle of alcohol for consolation, but this time, it got too much for him. He was later found unconscious in his room. After being taken to the hospital, John was diagnosed with alcohol poisoning. Following this, the PGA was not in the mood to cut him some slack. He was temporarily banned from the PGA Tour, and the only way he could come back was through rehab. Financial troubles. With his alcohol problems and ban from the tour, John lost out on sponsors. Wilson's Sporting Goods was the first to distance itself from Long John. Without Wilson, Daly was left with almost $2 million in debt and hundreds of thousands owing in taxes. While he was easily able to pay that off, the fact remains that alcohol has cost the man a lot, including his marriage. Failed marriages. You might not believe this, but Long John has been through 4 failed marriages. He married Dale Crafton in 1987 before divorcing her only 3 years later. He met Betty Fulford and married her in early 1992. It's worth mentioning that his alcohol problems were now at their peak, as it was the first time that he'd gone under rehab. Lots of people think that his drinking habits were the reason for his marriage problems. He was charged with third-degree assault after throwing Betty into a wall. Luckily for John, his wife didn't want to pursue the matter, and the charges were dropped. He went through his second divorce in '95. In the same year, he married his third wife, Paulette Dean, which ended after 4 years in '99. In 2001, he married Sherry Miller, and everyone thought that this marriage was definitely going to stick. It all ended one night in 2007 after the two got into a fight in a restaurant. Sherry reportedly tried to stab John with a steak knife, for which she served 6 months in jail too. Daly divorced her after that. Golf course drama. Daly's history of misconduct isn't just limited to his home. His tantrums on the golf course have hurt his reputation too. One notable event is from the 2015 PGA Championship, where, instead of using his powerful swing on the ball, John was seen flinging his club into Lake Michigan in front of the crowd. And if you watched that game, you'd probably have seen it coming. He had already hit all 3 of his tee shots into the lake too, and by the time his 4th shot reached dry land, John was fuming and flung his iron as far into the water as he could. But this wasn't even the first time that he'd done this. He did the same thing at the 1998 Bay Hill Invitational and then again at the 2000 US Open. Over the years, Daly has been suspended 5 times and has been fined over $100,000 in total. His first suspension came in 1993 while playing at the Kapalua International Open. He walked off in the middle of the round. And earlier that year in the Kemper Open, he threw a scorecard at the scoring tent while being upset at scoring a 77. And then again in the Southern Open, he walked off the course without telling his partners, and his suspension was the result of all 3 incidents. These antics have been going on since the start of his career. DALY received 7 PGA Tour orders to go to rehab, has even been cited 11 times for conduct unbecoming of a professional, and has been cited 21 times for failing to give his best efforts. So what are your thoughts on John's antics? Let us know in the comments. That's it for this video. If you enjoyed watching this video, remember to leave a like, subscribe, and ring that bell icon so you can see our upcoming videos. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.